So every Thursday we do this segment called Mental Health Matters, and we are joined yet again by our behavioral change specialist, Johanse Ayodike. And today, Johanse, what a very interesting topic. Let me read this out to the nation. This one caught my attention. It says, how your emotions influence your money. Now, I guess important discussion because we just had the budget on Monday, and literally, I need to ask, how does one's emotion ultimately influence their money?
Greetings, Jason, and greetings to all the viewers. Emotions come from our thoughts, and our thoughts come from how we perceive a situation. So therefore, how we perceive something influence our emotions, which is energy, and then influence our behavior. And spending is part of our behavior. Spending or investing our money comes from our behavior. So however we perceive a situation means however we feel about it, and then how we spend. So when we get information, for example, when we get the budget, some sort of perception happens, it comes into emotion, and then it depends on how we want to spend money. And that's on a macro scale. Let's go even on a micro scale. When we in stores, you know, sometimes they put certain items by the cashier. So when we reach there, we see it, we have a certain emotion, and then we decide how we spend our money. And then I'll give a third perspective. We have many foods and drinks that we use for comfort. Now, comfort is an emotional thing. So depending on how we feel, how we perceive a situation into our feeling, is how much money we will spend or invest on entertainment, alcohol, parties, etc.
So I guess that gives some validity to the concept that when our economy is low, when people are in a kind of fiscal turmoil, if a society is in that place, they've always heard and I've seen via reports that people actually party more, and alcohol seems to sell more when there's a downward spiral in our economy. Is this, based on your research, on your readings, factual?
Yes, I agree with that, because when people are unsure of how to get out of a situation, or they're finding difficulty formulating a solution, they go to whatever is comforting. And we know that alcohol, partying, especially in Trinidad and the Caribbean, is one of the ways that we use to escape reality, or at least forget what's wrong at first, so that we can sometimes come back to see how we could deal with it.
Interesting. So what about those who, let's say the frugal folks, people who are really tight with their budget? Is it something to do with just their mindset, whether they're happy, whether they're sad? They seem to just really be tight with their spend, they hold on to that wallet, they hold on to the purse. Or probably do they spend on things that we might not be aware of?
Those are two good points. One, because it's our emotions, is important that we balance it. Because being frugal, let me go being cheap first. Yeah. That's also an emotional thing. Yeah. Because if you're afraid of losing your money, then you may not spend money at all. You may go to exuberant lengths to quote unquote save money. Let me give you an example. There are some people who will drive, if let's say they live in Port of Spain, they might drive to Grandy because they have a grocery there that have lower prices, not thinking about the cost of gas, the cost of car maintenance, to go all the way to Grandy to get it. So there are two sides of the extreme where one, because of our emotions, we try to escape by overspending, and then because we're trying to be frugal, that we end up going exuberant lengths to be cheap. So just like any emotions, even when we're dealing with our own self and stress and other areas, the balance is key. So yes, you feel emotion. So I'm not saying don't feel emotion. It's human. The budget happen, you see something, you feel a certain way, no problem. But now, one, do some research. So let's go if we go in the budget. There are many articles that came out, many financial institutions sent out their own report. Do some reading, understand exactly what it means. And then now, you should have a plan. Because a plan is not an emotional thing. Many of us, don't have a financial plan or a budget for the year just like the country. So it's good to have a plan so we can match up our plan with whatever the budget is to see what works best for us. So now, yes, we have an emotional response, but also we're using our brain so that we have a balance between the emotional and the logical.
Okay, because I want to bring it now to real examples. What do we say to the ladies who do top spending on, let's say, shoes? I mean, they already have probably 40 pairs of shoes. They're getting more shoes. Some of the shoes already in the cupboard, dry rotten. They might buy a shoe, wear it once, they wear it again. Then you have men, some men that love the cologne. It's million cologne, it's bottles upon bottles. And you just find yourself, purchasing these items. What do you say to somebody who might see it as a problem, or even if a family member's looking on from a distance and seeing, boy, like this person, they're kind of really going the extra mile? What emotion takes one to a place where you spend excess on, let's say, one item?
One, I would say, come and check me. I've helped many people with compulsive spending. Two is, one, if you are the person who is compulsive spending, ask yourself, sometimes you may not know why it is you're doing it. And when you understand why, that's the first key to even changing that behavior. Secondly, if you're a family member supporting this person, numbers are an important factor because numbers have no emotion. So if you spend $100, that is $100. And it's to show the person how much money they are spending, whether it is over a 6 month or a year period, and then you could equate that same money could have gone to something else, something that's more permanent, something that's more useful in your life than something that's just in a corner there. Or even cologne. One bottle of cologne could last a certain length, and they should have it last this long. Again, we're going with numbers, we're going with facts, we're going with logical thinking to help them along the lines.
You think some people just love to see commodities? They just love to look upon their stash, look upon their treasure, just to, there are folks like, well, can't say folks, I'll use myself an example, right? I'm not no big drinker, but I have a cupboard there at home where I call it the Federal Reserve, where it's premium bottles, and I honestly, I like to look at it. I don't touch it, I just have it there now. At some point, I had to touch it because if I drop down and I'm no more for the week, I'm sure friends and family will beat. They'll say, boy, the man had good taste, and they'll beat it. So at some point, I had to take a little touch. But I like to look at it honestly. I just like to, you look at your drinks display and you say, yeah, boy, nice. So that okay?
It depends. It always depends on why you're doing something, right? Your example there remind me of my grandmother's generation, where they had, I don't know if you experienced this, a hutch.
Yeah.
Display with all the
buffet,
all the glassware,
the buffet,
all the glassware and the ceramics and things.
What do you mean?
They never use it, and they just like looking at it sometimes for a special occasion. So it's to understand why it is, because if you have something there that wasting time, is something there that just for an emotional response and not being practical and not adding value to your life, then it's something that you should reevaluate. But on the other hand, the emotional response sometimes could be a good thing, because let's say you, for example, if you're having a stressful day, looking at your Federal Reserve make you feel good and bring you up, maybe that has some use to it. But it's to weigh the factors between practicality and emotionality, and especially if we're dealing with money, because if I am spending money on your Federal Reserve, and the money could be more useful somewhere else, even to invest maybe in a certain area, and you can get more money to put in your Federal Reserve, that might be more important. But it's to really do that analysis, understand why. Why am I spending money on these things? Why am I feeling this way when it comes to money? And then when you come up with that, you could formulate a proper plan.
All right then. All right. Interesting. Before we wrap things up, what do you say to those who impulse buy, the impulse buyers, those who walk in a store, see something, purchase the said item, and as you walk out, you feel a sense of guilt. You feel like, I really need that, And sometimes you're so frustrated now with the impulse purchase that you want to go back now and do exchange, and, well, the exchange policies, people giving you, all kind of run around story, well, thing and whatever, but you see something, your eye fall upon it, you buy it, you don't need it, But you pull it same when you walk out, and as you walk out, you jump in the car, you jump in the maxi. Instead of study, oh gosh, boy. What I buy that for? What do you say to that person this morning?
If you know you're an impulse buyer, walk with less money, leave your credit card home, ask for support, and I'm emphasizing the ask for support part because sometimes you yourself sometimes can't help yourself. So ask for support because impulse buying sometimes can lead to a very dangerous end in terms of your own money, finances, stress, etc.
But Johan says some people see a sale, they can't leave a sale alone, When you see a sale, you feel almost compelled to purchase because wait now, what? I cashed them with the pants down today, so you figure this product was $1,000 last week and now you're getting it for $6,000. So you know what? After what them? You don't need it, But it's just that impulse, that sale. You want to make sure you feel like you're. Is it like you win? You feel like you win, like you win them?
Some people, a good question before you even buy something on a sale is, how does this profit my life? How does this bring value to my life, to my family life, etc.? And if you can't come up with an exact way or a healthy way, then don't buy it. Right? And also do some research because we're about to wrap up. Do some research on how your emotions affect what you buy. Let me give you a quick example. There's research that shows that when you're feeling to give love or you want to give love or you want to receive love, you would buy creamy foods like ice cream, sweets, etc. When you're feeling a bit frustrated, you would buy foods with a crunch in it because of the anger in you or the frustration, you want to crunch certain foods. So with that information, you could even understand, wait now, I have this craving right now. What's this feeling, boy? What else I could do that makes sense, that wouldn't put me more in a hole to help quell this emotion?
That's so true, Most people, when the love is fresh and new and they're on the first set of dates, ice cream is always, I don't think people go for the crunchy. I mean, yeah, you might go for a crunch per se, but definitely ice cream, cake, sweets. Valentine's Day sweets. You're not selling a pack of plantain chips for a girl for Valentine's Day. It's sweetie and chocolates and flowers. Wow. Look how these things scientific now. These things, much research into this.
It was always scientific because from the start, I'll give you a quick thing and you could do the research. In the early 19-somethings, Kellogg's hired psychologists to tell the nation, to tell the world that cornflakes is what you should eat for breakfast. And they did enough ads. Now when people think about breakfast, they think about cornflakes. And you could have used anything, and it's really a scientific process. So and mental and emotional and psychological. So you understanding your own self will help you manage how you invest your money.
Johan Cielo, as always, you could give us your closing remarks before we take the break.
It's key to understand yourself, understanding your thoughts into your feelings, into your action, so that you could invest your money wisely. Make life simple because life is not easy, but it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
Johan say, as always, many thanks. Mental Health Matters every Thursday, right here on the Morning Brew, CNC3. We take a pause, come back, and we get into details concerning the Business Guardian. I'm joined by my colleague Curtis Williams to do that deep dive. Up next.